Today on Criminal Minds, we talk about the results of having a good, loving family. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to AFTERBUZZ TV. We are here doing the Criminal Minds After Show, Episode 10, Seek and Destroy. I'm your host, Marisa Serafini. You can follow me on Twitter at SeraphiniTV. Joining me, as always, to my left.
I'm Michelle Cullen. You can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
And Chris Howard. Find me at Chris Howard Live on Twitter and Instagram. You have a very sultry sounding voice here today.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, you guys. You're going to have to bear with me. I'm slightly under the weather, but thank you.
Yeah, it works.
It kind of works, but, I'm still here. The show must go on. So Seek and Destroy. What were your overall thoughts? Michelle, let's start with you.
I thought it was an interesting episode, and I had to think back on the previous seasons, and I don't really think there's been anything quite like this. Like, I didn't find another episode to compare it to. It was very unique in its delivery and the outcomes.
Yeah, and the twists. Yeah,
Yeah, there were quite a few, huh? Yeah, I dug it. I like the, I dug it.
Dig it.
I dig it, Daddy-O. Daddy-O, that's for the green van. It looked like the Scooby.
A little 70s
yeah,
vibe.
like the Scooby van.
The Mystery Machine.
The Mystery Machine, exactly.
I've seen the Mystery Machine.
But I liked all the profiling that was happening. It was like rapid, fast, because they had to do so many people. They were, and the whole group dynamic.
Yeah, and and I was actually surprised because of the preview for this episode looked like it was only females that were the unsubs, which kind of like threw me off a bit. And then when we watched this, then I realized it's a gang and there are males involved. I was like, okay, more than one this time, but there's 6, so there's a lot. And so that kind of threw off the conventional way of how they break down a single profile compared to 6. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it because it showed like how many people are so different, but why they were still working together.
Right.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, how each have their role in the hierarchy, and that was cool. I like that. That's because that's real. That's the real deal. You know that they're talking real science there. So that's cool.
Well, you have your alpha male and then everybody else in between.
Right, so there's the alpha male, what is there? There's the muscle, there's the right hand man or right hand person,
and then the soldiers. And I
right.
never really thought about that because, like, forgive me, I'm not really one with the knowledge of the gang and
you just take that alpha role and do it, right? You don't think about it.
I didn't really realize that there is kind of a bureaucratic system with the gang system.
Bureaucracy.
A little bit.
There is, yeah.
A little bit. I mean, you have your leader, but then you didn't know, like, everyone else that falls under that.
Right. It's interesting because it just kind of rolls out that way. It's almost like pack mentality with, you thought of dogs at the same time, too, or at least I did, because, it's almost inbred in them.
I thought, I found it interesting to kind of lay it out with a group of young adults because the only other show that I think I watched regularly that had that sort of setup was Sons of Anarchy, and because it was a motorcycle club with different positions, like it was clearly defined roles, and that's how they fit them, and that's how one person was the right hand, and
did they know that in the episode? They said they were thinking that way out loud, or was it structured like that? That's what I'm getting at.
In this episode?
No. I'm not talking about Sons of Anarchy. I'm just curious. Like, did they say, "This is your role. This is your role. This is your role," or was it just happened?
It just happened within the roles. So there was the president and the vice president.
Just like in this.
And it just was kind of adopted into the roles and the characters.
Got it.
Yeah, it still relates today.
Yeah.
I was interested. It was interesting for them to call them gang, quote, unquote, because I didn't really see them as a gang. I saw them more as just a group of friends partying together and being wild and crazy.
Well, it was interesting how it was said that they had the markings of a terrorist cell, because they really were terrorizing people. That's what it was all about, was let's go and terrorize some people that it's like taking it out on mommy and daddy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What were your thoughts of Stephen Walker actually bringing this profile to us? Not Garcia finding this case. It was Walker to bring it up to Prentice and be like, hey, we should check this out because a friend of mine told me about this. Did that surprise you?
It didn't really surprise me. It seemed like a really good way to introduce him into the team in a natural setting of him bringing a case to the table and kind of not necessarily taking lead on it, but having a lot of input. into it.
Yeah, no, I think they're introducing these new characters, and they've got to weave them in, and because they're taking the place of a couple of them that left, right? So it's like, how do we best move them in? So I thought it was good that they gave him an opportunity to do that. And as you had said before, that it does give us less screen time for other people. Like Aisha Taylor wasn't there at all. And
Reed is still gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blake is still gone.
Right.
Not Blake. Reed, Tara Reed. And Tara.
Yeah.
All these names.
So you got to wonder what's happening. Are they going to be moving some of them out? Or are they going to,
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's great to have so many people, but it also takes away from, like, our main cast.
Was there even an explanation for why Tara wasn't there?
Nope.
Yeah, at least Reed had. Like, he's with
Reed's
his mom
off
in
with his
Houston.
mother.
And that's going to be answered later. But I feel like there have been several instances now where Dr. Lewis just isn't in the episode and it's never acknowledged or talked about.
Yeah, and we know Lewis, like, well, Aisha Taylor, she has, like, a lot of other big projects going on right now in her life, too. So, like, I get that she might have to be in and out, but, like, usually when a character is gone, they clearly address why they're out that episode.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're away on a conference this week, or X, Y, and Z, you know?
Right.
But, I mean, hopefully we can actually get everybody together.
Yes.
And figure this out. But, I mean, it doesn't seem like they miss a beat because 2 or 1 person's missing. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But, okay, so let's talk about the victims. We realize that this gang, quote unquote, is attacking parents who are from wealthy neighborhoods in San Diego area. Well, a recent couple was in San Diego. But wealthy parents who don't have children, or their children are grown up and out of the house. But what did you think of these type of victims being, like, susceptible to people throwing out a ruse and getting these kids into the house?
I thought... I don't want to go first.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I need to gather my thoughts.
That's okay. You gather. I thought, well, shoot, that's right up the street, because that's that's right over here. San Diego, Escondido, Rancho Santa Fe, Del Mar. It's right.
All these places in California.
Yeah, they're not far from here. And have you been to those areas?
A couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're beautiful areas. Del Mar, Rancho Santa Fe, so they're really upscale places. I love the areas, and they're parents basically that are going to be probably naive to those types of things, not expect it. So they're probably good targets. Although when you have, when you've got a father that's going to be there too, a male that has the potential to fight back. I was a little surprised that they didn't get more fight back, quite frankly, because I'm not getting on my knees if you got a gun in your hand. It's not going to happen. But
you are also, in your defense, is that, like, you're a different type of personality than these people are. Like, but, like, you've done jiu-jitsu.
Right.
It's like you're trained in the martial arts, where we can assume that most of these parents aren't.
Yeah.
So, like, you're trained to self-protect yourself, whereas these parents can't fight back.
Okay. All right.
Other than you could. So if someone broke into your house, I wouldn't mess with you.
Okay.
That's the wrong house.
All right.
Yeah. Well, and I almost think it's subconsciously addressing stereotypes. Like, these are young adults that happen to, besides German what's her name?
German K or
not K.
B.
Vivian.
So, like, they're young adults, even though they were raised poorly and came from bad, broken homes. Like, they look put together, and it's in their own home, and they're in a wealthy neighborhood that probably has a low crime rate. So they don't expect it, and they're taken surprised by it.
Yeah, the ruse was good. I mean, they're talking to him about cancer.
Bone marrow cancer.
Yeah, saying, "Can you please donate
little
for
brother's
cancer?"
bone marrow cancer.
Right. So they case the houses. They do their reconnaissance. They pick which ones they're going to pick. They develop rapport with the house owner. I mean, it was really laid out quite well, considering they were just Babe was only 21, right? So.
Yep, and it was the girls who did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the girls who put on the ruse, which, I mean, would make sense for being the females, being the less...
Yeah, intimidating.
Yep.
Yes, less intimidating. I thought that was smart. The whole build of rapport, it didn't seem like they built rapport with these few parents that we saw. It was like they just broke into the house, you know.
Well, but they went by
piece,
first, left a piece of clothing.
They left something there to give them a reason to go back, but they
Right.
just broke into the house.
And said, well, hey, but they were willing to open the door because they recognized the face. I said, I leave my sweater here. Oh, yeah, okay.
Right. But let's talk about the gang, quote unquote. I hate calling them a gang because that's such a negative term. This group of the unsubs, which we eventually learn their names. We have Zeke, we have B, who's Zeke's girlfriend, Vivian, Kevin, and
Well, Kevin was Germ.
Kevin was AKA Germ. Yes, all these names. But what did you think? So we had 3 males, 3 females. And
Were there
they
3
all
males?
There were 2 males.
There were 2 males.
Two
Yeah.
males, yes.
Yeah.
Numbers.
You're
Sorry.
seeing double. It's the...
It is. It is. I can't count.
Yeah.
But we had this group, and seeming like young 20s to mid 20s. But what did you think of them and how they were, just conveyed on screen?
It definitely drew from Manson family characteristics.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which actually I think comes up later in your profiled segment because
Yes.
I did read that. But it struck me as that even before I had read that because there was a moment where it seems very clearly defined that B and Zeke are together, but then Vivian goes and sits on Zeke's lap and makes out, and everyone else is totally cool with it. And
Right.
it's kind of that incestual family bond situation.
Yeah. Way to point that out. I didn't... I saw it, but didn't
Didn't click for you.
click. Yeah, but I get
But it's
it.
clicking.
Yeah, it's clicking now. Yeah.
What did you think, Chris, of these young people?
I thought it was interesting. I did like to watch the group dynamics, and I liked how they broke down the group dynamic process and the psychology behind it, and in terms of the characters. I thought they all did a good job, they all had their role. The muscle, so there was 2 layers of muscle, wasn't there? There was the big guy, Germ, and then when Germ got kicked out, then you had the other muscle with the gun, which is Zeke. So you had 2
Zeke
muscles.
was the alpha, and Germ was the muscle.
Well, I think it turned out that B was the alpha, wasn't she?
Yeah.
The alpha female.
Yeah, the alpha. Yeah, so it's like. It was neat. I like the role definition, like we talked about. Yeah.
Did you expect that twist when we learn more about Zeke and the fact that he's been the one killing the parents
Right.
the whole time, away from everybody else, and they don't really know. And then when we find out a little bit about his background, he's had a torn family, X, Y, and Z, but it was actually B who was having issues from a good family, no less. She was raised in a loving household who had money, who tried to take care of her, but was
Did you expect
somewhat outcast. Did you expect this twist?
Didn't necessarily expect that twist that she was the ultimate alpha of the group, but it made sense once it happened. Once they cracked that Germ and Zeke met each other, but something drew them out west. It was that wasn't their choice.
the
They
girl,
were
right? Yeah.
they were cool chilling in the south of the country, and then they clearly met one of these 3 girls, and then from there it's easy to draw which girl it is because she's doing lines of coke and going insane.
Yes.
Right.
She's a party girl.
Yeah. I had actually read a review on the way here. I was doing a little bit of homework, so I knew before that it was going to happen. So I can't say whether I knew it or not. But I read the synopsis before I got here.
Oh, there you go. See, I didn't see it coming, especially with the whole background, knowing that she actually came from a good, well-to-do family, and then for her to act out like this way just because she was casted out, because she had a sibling who was more the golden child.
Right, the golden child. And we didn't hear much about her other than in the breakdown because we didn't see her. She wasn't the sister, which is kind of a surprise that she wouldn't go after the sister as well.
Yeah.
I would think.
Well, I mean, it wasn't the sister that really casted her out of her own family. It seemed like it was the parents.
Got it. So she
So
was.
that's why she was targeting parents. But I mean, I was just trying to question why kill all these parents before B even knew that Zeke was killing parents, when Zeke was just killing parents for fun.
Was
Unless
that?
he had a real serious.
No, I think he was killing for her.
No, I think he was killing for him.
Yeah,
I think
he
that was
killing for
something
him.
that we just didn't get answered, that he had some deep-seated issues going on.
Yeah.
Really? I thought he was pulling the trigger for her, but I could be wrong.
See, I didn't get that because I didn't think B found out Zeke was killing all these people when everybody else found out too.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, no, because they said that they didn't kill the people in the houses before. The ones that he and Germ were hitting were
Those were just burglaries.
They were just burglaries, right? The people weren't home.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. Maybe B had some pent-up rage, and that was just a loose
was killing
detail.
him
That's
for B.
something we infer,
Okay.
which you might have inferred correctly.
Wow.
See, that's why we talk about it.
Interesting.
On the
Yeah.
show.
That's why I have a
For
purpose.
the revelations.
Yes, we have those moments. I really liked it, and B actually stands for Bethany Elise Adams. She's 21, so she's young and impressionable, and she's had an oxy overdose, and that's how she met.
Oxy?
Yeah, she overdosed on oxy, and that's how she met Zeke in the hospital.
Got
I
it.
thought Zeke was listed as her emergency contact.
Well, that one of them was, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
emergency.
so she met him prior to that somehow.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they all know each other.
Yeah, it didn't say how they
Right.
met.
They're all in this together.
It happened so fast.
It did.
Right. You're right. Yeah. Okay, so let's getting down to the brass tacks, to the actual shootout scene. Really, when we get to B's actual house and her family, that was a surprise to me. I didn't see that coming. I was like, oh, hello,
Hi,
parents.
Mom. Hi, Dad. Yeah.
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 Yeah. But what did you think of that shootout now at this point where everyone from the group is turning on each other?
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
My first thought was when B had. I was surprised when she shot Zeke. I didn't see that coming, and then she shot him. I'm like, oh, okay, of course. And then when she went to go shoot, or when she was holding, was it Liv? Is Liv one of the names?
Okay.
Not,
Kay.
not
Oh, no,
Kay, but
Vivian?
Vivian.
Vivian.
So she's holding Vivian, and she's got the gun, and then Kay pulls the gun out, and as soon as she started to turn, I thought Kay should have shot right there. Don't let her point the gun at you. So I was like,
Yeah, no.
as soon as she starts to turn,
slow turn.
you take the shot. But then I was also, then when they were coming in and they grabbed her, I liked how quickly that went down. I liked how they rolled that out. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad they didn't, I don't know if this was a gender thing, but they didn't shoot any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't-
Especially like it also being a female, now being like the main target. And like I'm glad that they didn't have a shootout with a female. I think that'd be hard to watch on
You didn't see a lot of rough stuff either. You just saw they grabbed her,
Yeah.
got the gun, and then you didn't see.
It's like she was easily to subdue,
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Take her from behind. You know.
There you go.
That like it was a blindsiding kind of thing. I really enjoyed it because we saw how they all just turned on each other. Like once they found out that Zeke was killing, then like they was questioning him. Zeke kills Kevin. Because it shows that it was really Zeke and B were the more crazy ones, and then the rest actually had conscience.
Yeah.
And like they were having fun partying, but they didn't expect it to end up being like homicides.
Yeah.
So I was like, those three had, some hope within them. I was like, they can be saved. The other two, maybe not so much.
Yeah. They had a skewed sense of rules because they were totally comfortable with stealing and trashing and locking people up and robbing houses. They said the rich people had it coming. They can always buy more. We're just here to party. So they were totally comfortable with that. It's when it got to physically harming the people who own the house is where they drew the line. So they still had that moral conscience that was just completely missing in B and Zeke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A little bit sociopath for being Zeke. But I'm glad that they made it out alive. Like, all these young people kind of, well, other than Kevin. But everyone else made it out.
So, well, we lost Germ, we lost Zeke, and that was it, right?
Well, Zeke was shot
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
twice. I thought they still reeled him out, though.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Like
He
you
shot
might
in the head.
yeah,
He
Okay.
did.
died.
Yeah.
It was the
did.
girl. It's like I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was the issue. This is why we stick to one unsub per episode compared to 5. Yes. B made it out alive. They were bailing her out. Yeah, Zeke is dead. I'm surprised that Zeke and Kev, like the 2 guys, end up dying and the girls survive.
How
Right.
fascinating is that? That's because girls are wily.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No? Okay. I'll take a pop at it.
I don't know. Now it makes me wonder if they've ever killed a girl
On the show?
on screen on the show. Because they've killed plenty of guys.
Yeah, the kill that. And it's very rare to have female serial killers. I mean, we've
Right.
had them on
Yeah.
the show.
And I'm sure they have. I just can't think of any.
Yeah, I think some might have been Death by Cop. There was that one in season 4, at the beginning.
How do you
Premiere.
remember the
Which-
seasons
which
and stuff?
The terrorist, when she...
Which
Okay.
chair?
Like-
Not the bank one.
You coded in your mind that way? Season 4. There was that
Sure.
one.
I'm going to have to
there's-
look this up later.
There's too many unsubs to filter through for female
Yeah.
unsubs. But I just find it interesting that the females survived and the males didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, would have liked if like B kind of had her comeuppance.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah, she was pretty twisted. Right there, launching at her parents at the end when they were putting her in the car. And
Yeah, she seems like just mentally, she seems very
Right.
messed up,
well,
like
she's
animalistic.
Yeah.
probably been doing drugs since she was 10.
Yeah, she was probably
Like a rich private
High.
prep girl with issues mentally that never faces consequences.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
I
it's the
really
consequences of having a
enjoyed
good family, right? That's what you said?
it. For B.
For me.
For B. Apparently, that's what happens to her when she has a good family. Yeah, but like I think Penelope had her good 2 strong scenes when she was finding out the
She was
information.
so caring as she was doing it.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
And I liked also, we're getting kind of away from delivering the profile kind of every episode, but like the way that each two FBI agents, wherever they were like, so this happened, so this happened. So like,
I like that.
Yeah, like that was their own way of breaking down each unsub.
Each piece of the action.
Yeah, like the fact that we saw a little bit of them saying, so there's an alpha, so these are younger people. The fact that some of the personalities are different. Like the alpha is more mature compared to the ones doing all the graffiti, which are more immature.
Did
So
you have the blood splatter effects on the back of the
Yeah.
germ?
blood spatter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the shooting, which happened in the living room where before they were hiding it. So that meant
Yep.
that they were
Yeah.
becoming more brazen or
Devolving.
they were devolving. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like that, the fact that blood spatter can say so much of a
Yeah.
crime scene that they realize that this particular house that Zeke actually killed these people in front of everybody else, where all the other houses he was hiding them away from and then killing them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
smart,
Yeah.
dark, yeah, bit dark. But it also shows that Zeke was losing his power as an alpha. So
That's true. Well, because when he killed the parents or the homeowners in front of everyone else, it was the party had become a dud for whatever reason, but he hadn't finished his ritual and they all wanted to leave and he was not having that.
yeah.
Yeah, and he looked at B for acceptance though when that happened for a moment. He looked over at her and then he announced his new plan. But you could see the party was becoming a dud. B was saying, "Here, drink this." So she was the one that was kind of providing the drugs and the alcohol. And they said that they would do that to control them, which was interesting.
Yeah, and I thought that was an interesting point, that there's like at least one person sober
Right.
to like pull off an organized crime, but the rest are partying, so they're probably high. Like I mean I wouldn't have figured out one person was sober during all of this.
I think it was the
Therefore,
angle of the
probably,
gun,
yeah.
the preciseness of the shootings, and
The
Same type
silencer
of gun
yeah.
and the 9mm. It's very smart,
Yes, it is.
like it always
There you go.
is.
That's how you do it, right?
Yeah, like it always is. But then, we saw B pull out her own gun. We're like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
So, changing up the MO just a little bit. But other than that, oh, and then there was one more thing, bringing it back to just the regular BAU team. We also realized that Walker is still working on Mr. Scratch profile.
Yep.
So do you think that'll make headway?
I think he'll crack something, whether it's he himself, or one of his many counterparts that he alluded to at the end of the episode, where he says he has a lot of connections all over, and they're all working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Something will happen soon.
Yeah, we'll get something, but it's so that's just kind of the start of it, presenting that yes, he's got it handled, and something's going to come through him.
Yeah, and I like that, and it shows that, like, yes, he can add to this BAU team, especially like going off of his gut feeling, like this could be a serial killer case. Therefore, Prentice listening, and like also, Walker just appreciating, like, thank you for taking on this case. I am new, and like I love what she said. Like, everybody has a voice on this team, and they do work. That's like, there's not one main person anymore, really. I mean, kind of started with Hotch, but they do work as a group effort.
That's true. It definitely had more of that absolute leader thing in its earlier seasons, and then that slowly devolved in a good way.
Oh yeah, they're all, I see them all equal.
Yep.
Everybody has a voice, but it also shows that I think Prentice also brought on Stephen Walker because he has more connections to trying to track him down than maybe she has.
It's kind of her leadership style and pulling together
like
the team.
BAU has, that like Stephen Walker has more connections that could help find Scratch.
Yeah.
And I think she also had one of the better lines there, like, there are smarter people than Scratch that had tried to take down the BAU team, and they're all in prison.
Yep.
Love it.
It was
So
a good
good.
line, but the sassy person in me was like, except for those two people that are still out, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's fine.
Because we'll get them in the finale episode. anyways.
Exactly.
Anything else about this episode, though?
I really enjoyed it. I think that the mostly the group dynamics. It spices it up. It changes it from the normal show.
Yeah, I think it's a nice contrast between, like, this group that work together being young and crazy compared to the BAU team group that works together and they're really on it.
Yeah.
But how about you?
I agree with that. I thought it was a really well written and well executed episode, and I loved the twists.
Yeah. Great twist in this episode.
Yep,
Okay, so my fun section called Profile.
Profiles.
It kind of works with the low voice profile.
but it wouldn't work without the hands.
Maybe. All right, so yes, Michelle, you brought it up. Portions of this episode were inspired by the Manson family.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. Creepy.
Just a little bit. You can definitely get it. And the statistic of Agent Alves's reference that according to the National Youth Gang Center, up to 20% of gang members are female is an actual accurate assessment.
That's interesting.
Wow,
you
never
go.
thought of that. And Stiller, who is also the writer of this episode, threw in a nod to the actor Damon Gupton's background as a renowned symphony composer. He was assistant composer, with the line, sometimes you don't pick the instrument, sometimes the instrument picks you. So Gupton, if you guys don't know, he was an assistant conductor of the Kansas City Symphony from 2006 to 2008. He has a Bachelor in Music Education degree from the University of Michigan.
Interesting.
Very cool.
It's like a wand in Harry Potter. The wand picks the wizard.
Oh, I was like, do you mean the conductor baton? Because
I was going back to the quote, man.
Yeah, I was going back. I was like, that's not what they call it in conductor.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, so like every once in a while you have those lines that are, self-written for each particular actor, and that was definitely written for Gupton.
Nice.
I liked it. All right, cool. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Great episode as always. In the meantime, where can everyone keep following you?
Chris Howard at Chris Howard Live on Twitter and Instagram.
You can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV. You can follow all of us here on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those fun social media platforms at AFTERBUZZ TV. Keep rating, keep commenting, keep subscribing. We're actually off for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to come back in February.
Little break.
But don't worry, we'll still be there. So keep rating, keep watching, and we will see you next time.
Ciao.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.